Pitch to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to another edition here of the Patriots Touchback Podcast. It's me, your host, Carl. I am joined as ever by DJ and Nick because, gentlemen, football is back, baby. Week 1 is upon us at home to the Philadelphia Eagles. How excited are we, gentlemen?
I'd be more excited if it wasn't the Eagles first up, but hey, never mind. you got to play them, so let's get it out of the way.
Yeah, it does seem like the NFL committee have been colossal assholes, really, for us to just get the Eagles off the bat straight away. But guess what? You can only beat what's put in front of you. How are you surviving in this heat, Nick? Because it's the heat waves hit us quite hard, and as you can see, I'm not in my usual t-shirt. It's quite hot.
I'm fine. My house is south facing, so the blinds at the front of the house were shut all day, and yeah, it's a lovely thing. Air conditioning, it's great. So. Can't say much else. Can't say much else, really. It's wonderful.
Yeah, you can't. DJ, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, good. This is what we've all been building for. Week 1's here.
Finally. It is indeed. If this is your first time watching the stream, guys, make sure you're smashing the like button. Hit that subscribe button while you're at it as well. And anyone who's listening on audio, via Spotify, please make sure that you follow us as well. We've got a lot more content coming your way. Okay, DJ, there has been a little bit of some news gone through regarding a few additions, and obviously one particular member of our offensive line has gone to IR. So just give our followers all the details.
Yeah, so Riley Reef yesterday was put on the IR, so he'll be missing minimum 4 games. And then I think they've brought into the 53-man squad is Farah. He's a tight end, so he's actually signed for the 53-man squad. Then we've also then picked up a quarterback that was released from the Panthers, Matt Corral, which is a bit of an interesting one. I don't think he's played many snaps in the NFL itself with the Panthers. He did have to sustain a major injury. But from what he looks like on tape, through his college seasons, he's got an arm on him. He does look pretty decent, and he can feel the presence around the pocket and knows when to escape and when to just throw the ball away, similar to what Brady used to do. But again, it falls down to who's that QB2. It's because to me in the practice field today, Corral was sitting behind Mac. It wasn't Zappi. It wasn't Cunningham. So that's a bit of a surprising one where they've just literally brought him in and they're going to probably put him as QB2.
I think Bill O'Brien was saying that Matt Corral's pretty much been in night and day every day since he was signed, trying to catch up. And again, he's been signed to the 53 roster because we claimed him off waivers. He's not on the practice squad. So I think looking at that straight away, he's already the second QB on the roster. So I would think chances are he's number 2. Whether he's number 2 this week depends on how much he's actually picked up and learned. But we'll see. But I think as a generalization, you've got to expect he's going to be the number 2.
It does look it that way. Then that puts the likes of Bailey Zappi and Malik Cunningham in a little bit of an awkward position. If for Matt Corral to be elevated straight as a QB2, that basically being here's the difference. Okay, Bailey Zappi is 5'11". So he's already got really bad height for him, whereas Corral is 6'2". So he's already got the height advantage as it already is. He can run a bit better than Zappi. And if anybody has seen his tape when he was at Ole Miss, he's got a good arm on him, a really good arm on him. But He's coming to be a bit of competition to Mac Jones, but we know it's Mac Jones. He's going to be QB1 regardless. Regarding of this. Tight end Farron. I was very surprised we let go of Sokol. Very, very surprised. I believe we got him back on the
Practice squad.
on the practice squad. So that's interesting to work out. And Riley Reef, he's on IR. He's been injured for pretty much most of training camp anyway. So it was kind of going to happen anyway. But
which I think why Farah was brought in to give that extra block if needed, because he's a tight end, but he's much more of a blocker. If you see the size of the guy, he's massive. To me, he's like an O-line.
Have you seen our offensive line in preseason?
Yeah,
it ain't been very good, has it? But then again, we haven't had our starting line because one report I would like to break out was throughout what we saw a little bit of light training. It looks like the offensive lines, in regarding of being healthy, is actually getting back to full strength. So, according to one of the Patriots beat reporter, I can't remember who it is now, they've scheduled the offensive line to be Trent Brown at left tackle, Cole Strange at left guard, David Andrews at center, Michael Wenner at right guard, and Calvin Anderson to start at right tackle. That's what they've got right now. If that's the line that they start against the Eagles, that's a lot better than considering what we've had to work with recently. It's all about continuity and just gelling together now. And please keep Mac Jones on his feet, for Christ's sake. Otherwise, it's going to get very, very ugly very quickly. We are going up against a ridiculous defense, pass rush in the Eagles. So, we will talk a little bit more about that later on. Also to do with week one, a certain quarterback has returned to the Patriots. I mean, he's all right. I mean, he's pretty much the greatest quarterback to ever play. Certainly the Patriots' greatest player ever. And there's, of course, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. returning to Foxborough for a presentation of some kind, or
it hasn't been released, has it? What they're doing?
It hasn't been released, no. But it just feels like
hush.
It's been very hush. I find it quite. It just feels like, I'm not going to say it's like a Super Bowl opening ceremony, but I don't know if the Patriots are trying to do that sort of thing, or is it just going to be he walks out, he gets a little bit of a great ovation. Maybe he's got
to run the field, didn't he, and do that thing.
Yeah, the rumor is he's going to lead the team out. He's going to lead the team out with his run to the end of the field with his let's effing go, and then obviously there's the ceremony at halftime. But he was on.
Dress up?
I don't think so. He had his Let's Go podcast this week. First episode back after the break, and I just want to read you a quote from it. Have either of you listened to it yet this week?
Is it to do with the Jets?
No, it's Tom Brady's Let's Go podcast. It's worth listening to this week. So he told Jim Gray, I have a lot of gratitude for the Patriots. I have 2 decades of incredible life-altering experiences. So many memories, good and bad. I get to go there with my family as a fan. I've been there as a player. I've been there as an opposition player. Now I get to be a fan. I'm sure I will one day go back as a broadcaster too. So he's obviously, it's on his mind, and I believe he's looking forward to it. So, yeah. What they actually do at halftime, that's all cloak and dagger. I don't think anyone knows, but there was a few people saying that you can't bring Tom Brady back and not have him do let's effing go at the beginning. Whether at 45 he wants to run the length of the field, I don't know. So
I'm pretty sure he still can.
He still can. Yeah. Would you want to?
Well, obviously.
He's not going to be in his kit, is he? He's going to be in his
Oh, I don't know. I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know. I wouldn't at all be surprised if they just stuck him. If they did actually put him in his number 12 jersey, in full pads, or in shells at least, and going out there and doing it. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they done that. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Is Jules there as well? Has there been rumours about him being there as well or not?
I haven't heard anything. He might be there just to watch. I would think. Let's be honest. I would think someone like Jules
Most of them will be there.
and
McCourtney.
Gronk and McCourtney. They'll probably all be there as fans, as people there to watch Brady come back. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about. Yeah. Talking of Jules, did you see the advert that came out this week? The TV advert with the Lay's and Pepsi, because they did a joint.
No.
They did a joint. I'm assuming you've seen it because you're laughing, Carl. But
yeah, I've
DJ,
seen it.
They did an advert where there's loads of ex-footballers sat on the couch watching the start of the game.
Oh yeah,
and they're all
I
like,
remember that.
"Let's come out of retirement." And there's Jerry Rice, there's Dan Marino. Dan Marino can't read the card on his wrist. He has to get his glasses out, gets done for delay of game.
Yeah.
Josh Allen takes a selfie with him. And meanwhile, right at the end of the advert, there's just Jules and Tom sitting by a pool on deck chairs. And
chairs.
Yeah. And he's like, who'd come out of retirement? Who's stupid enough to do that? As Jules Edelman just sticks a Lay's chip right in his mouth. I loved it. I thought it was great.
They basically recreated that scene of what Brady and Gronk done for when they were at the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
That's basically what they done there. It'll be good to see Tom Brady back, even if it is just this one-off little situation. But let's just hope this does not overshadow the game in question, because it would just feel like it's all about him and not the team. Whereas we know for a fact we're going into a season with a lot of question marks and a certain coach, I wouldn't say on the hot seat, but after the mistakes that he made last year, i.e. bringing in Coach Pencil and Joe Judge didn't exactly do him any favors whatsoever. And he admitted to the mistake. So this is the season where he has to rewrite his wrongs.
Patricia's also there as well, isn't he? In the Eagles, so.
And
on the other side, he's about to have some kind of influence
with all
things. And
well, I'm sorry, but with all due respect to Matt Patricia, he is useless. So I'm sorry, but you're not. That's all right, mate. Okay, gentlemen, it's come that time. We said we would delay it until literally the week before the season starts. Here we go. The schedule. And talking of which, it is an absolute nightmare, because apparently, according to the NFL Network, we have got the fourth hardest schedule on paper throughout the entire NFL. Looking at that, I mean, obviously you can forget the first 3 games because that's obviously our preseason games. It just looks so daunting, but at the end of the day, you can only beat what's put in front of you, and hopefully we don't get blown the hell out of any of these games. We won't do the Eagles game because obviously we're going to have our prediction later on with our guest of honor, Steve, for the game itself. We'll just move straight into week 2, which is a home matchup against the Miami Dolphins. A resurgent Miami Dolphins. They now have Vic Fangio as a defensive coordinator. They brought in the biggest trash talker at corner in Jalen Ramsey, although he is injured till December. So it looks like we won't see him at all, thank God. But they've got more. But the Dolphins' offense has got more speed than a Formula One have in their cars. It's ridiculous. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle causing absolute carnage. So, gentlemen, at home to the Dolphins, where do you see this one panning out? DJ, we'll start with you.
I think it's going to be a coin toss. I don't know. I couldn't.
If I remember, go on, DJ, go on.
No, I was just going to say that I think it's more is going to be.
If I remember,
Go on, Nick.
So, if I remember correctly, when we played the Dolphins last year, both games, there was errors on both sides of the ball that cost us big time. I remember Trent Brown just left his man as he ran straight through him and creamed Mac Jones. If you look at sort of the Miami Dolphins towards the end of last year, a lot of teams started realizing how they were playing and started pressing them high. So I think I wouldn't say that teams have started to get the Dolphins number and have got McDaniels, not McDaniels, what's it?
McDaniel.
Got him on the road. Mike McDaniels on the road. I say McDaniels, and I just instantly think Josh, and I'm like, no, I'm not right. At home, I've got it down as if we're going to get 10 wins, that Dolphins game has to be one of them. I can't see us getting more than 10. But I've got us down winning that game.
You go down winning that game, okay? DJ?
Yeah. I don't know how Tua's going to be. That is the only worry for me. If Tua's are firing all cylinders, then we could be in for a loss in that game. Now at the beginning, I had us easily going 0-4, but I think we're going to take a win on this one.
Take a win against the Dolphins. I will probably go with the same. Rewrite the wrongs, rewrite the mistakes. If you shut down that offense, I don't think that defense is really nothing to really write home about. It's good, but it's not at the level like us or the Jets is. It's not. So I'm probably going to get that a W. So we do get a win there. Okay. Moving into week 3, our first road game against the Butt Fumble. And yes, I'm going to use the term the Butt Fumble because that's who they are. They are the New Jersey Jets. I don't care. But they've literally gone Thanos in the offseason. They've turned their quarterback into Zach Wilson, into Aaron Rodgers. Their defense is absolutely elite. I'm not going to lie. Their defense is elite. They've added Dalvin Cook now to the running game. They've also brought in the old mates of Green Bay and Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard. They've still got Garrett Wilson. We always seem to struggle at MetLife when we play the Jets, usually. And then when they come to our ground, we usually send them back down into the basement. What's your prediction for this one, Nick?
Bill doesn't lose to the Jets, does he?
No. Well, not really, anyway.
Home or away, Bill does not like losing to the Jets. So you know what? Aaron Rodgers or no Aaron Rodgers, the Jets can stay where they belong, and that's below us. Win.
Okay, DJ?
I'm going to go loss.
Boo.
I think it's all dependent on how Mac, in this particular game, how Mac is going to do with that defense. If that defense can pick him off a couple of times and dominate him, then I don't think we're going to have a chance on offense.
Did the Jets pick him off in the last season at all? Not quite sure.
I think this team is a bit more better this year.
The defense is it's roughly the same as last year. It's still an elite defense. It's going to be if this offensive line is going to be able to hold up. If the offensive line holds up, because remember, guys, we were bottom 5 in the offense last year. We were ranked second last in the red zone. So, there's going to be a change of that period. But I'm going to go for a W there against the Jets. We then have another road game against them Cowboys. This is a team I can't stand. It's not the team I don't really stand. It's their fans. They're just so up themselves, and I can't stand them. I can't stand Dallas Cowboys fans. They think they're God's gift. They think they're God's gift to football, like I'm God's gift to women. Side note: neither of us are.
On Sunday in Birmingham, I plead anybody who is a Dallas Cowboys fan to come up to me and Carl and come and say hello, because I'd love to see that conversation. If you are at Felson's next Sunday and you see me and Carl chatting and you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, come up and say hello, because I will be more than delighted to take a picture of you and Carl together having a beer.
Having a ruckus. A brawl in the bar.
It'll probably involve me going over the top of the railings into the bloody river where the Felsons is anyway. Anyhow, right, Cowboys. What have we got with this one, guys? DJ?
Loss.
You got the loss there against the Cowboys. Okay. Nick?
This is one of a few games on our schedule that I am really sort of sat on the fence, and I could go either way. If the Patriots turn up and play like we know they can play, and Bill has them firing on all cylinders, I don't think the Cowboys can beat us. But if the Patriots don't turn up on firing on all cylinders, we could get handed an ass beating. It's one of the games we need to win for me to see us making 10. I don't think we will win 10, but I will put it down as a win anyway.
So you're gonna have a win over the Cowboys. So basically, right now, minus the Eagles, you've got us going 3-0. That's basically
I've got us going better than that, but.
If it was anything like the last time we played the Cowboys, because that was an absolute humdinger of a matchup between us and the Cowboys back at Gillette Stadium.
Yes.
I'm going to take a loss.
Boo.
I hate them Cowboys, but the team on the field is very, very good. Also, got CD Lamb in Fantasy League. Anyway, right, moving on. Back to Gillette Stadium we go. Our home matchup against the Saints. Let's be very honest. The NFC South is absolute turd. It's turd.
Yeah, it's weak.
It's weak. It's not great. It's not great at all. The Saints and the Falcons are probably the two that will fight for the division. The Saints have now got Derek Carr as their quarterback, so they've got a gunslinger now in there. But it's all ifs, buts, and maybes for this team. I'm going to start off first, and I'm going to say we're going to get a W against the Saints. Nick,
What
about you?
Yeah, win.
Yeah, 3 wins.
Okay. Then we move on the road. We're back in Vegas again against the Raiders. We do not need to be told about what happened when Jacoby Myers threw that ball backwards and just ran it out of bounds, because we're just going to get PTSD over it.
I know we shouldn't have lost that game, and it goes back to the point I was making just prior about the Dallas Cowboys game. If the Patriots turn up against the Raiders and they play how they should do, and the way they played the Raiders last year is not how the Patriots play. So if they cut out the stupid mistakes, I don't think the Raiders are a better team than us anyway. So I realize that I'm getting repetitive, but I'm going to go a W again.
You've got us going fucking 5 straight. What the hell's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, but let's be fair. We could. You say I've got us going 5 straight, but we could quite easily
go 5 losses. Yeah, that's the way. It's the NFL. Embrace the chaos. DJ.
It's in Vegas. I'm gonna go down as an L.
Oh, good Lord. Well, I think we're going
Mr.
to exact.
Positive.
I think we're going to exact our revenge over the Raiders. There's no way There's no way we can screw up this time. There is no way we can screw up this time.
Jimmy G. I don't know.
Oh, whoop-de-doo.
Shoulder.
Porn star Jimmy, give me a break.
Go on, Jimmy.
Okay. Right. Next game at home, Buffalo. They have become our big bully all of a sudden. After we bullied them for 20 years now, they are jacked up and they are kicking our ass every time. There was a little bit of hope in that final game of the season last year where all of a sudden Matt Patricia decided to use play action for Mac Jones and we started scoring points. Too little, too late, really. What are we all saying? Are we all taking an L on this one?
Yeah.
We're all taking an L. Okay.
While we're on the Buffalo Bills subject, I realise that we're doing schedule or anything. Is Sean McDermott on the hot seat? Considering the talent he's had, and he hasn't done anything with it, it's like they're a game of Jenga, and all those good pieces have come out and they're now starting to wobble, and you're looking for that next piece to take out that isn't going to knock the tower over. Can they sustain the wobble? Because I don't think he's on the hot seat per se, but I think he needs some sort of result. He needs some sort of win soon.
If they don't get to the Super Bowl, I think he's gone.
Go on, carry on anyway.
Yeah. I think it's an argument to say, he could be on the hot seat. I mean, they've had 3 bites of the cherry. They made the AFC Championship first time round, and you know what? That shouldn't let them haunt them too much. But then they go and lose the divisional round to the Chiefs in 13 seconds. 2 plays in 13 seconds. And then last year, they had a home playoff game against the Bengals, and the Bengals came in and absolutely annihilated them.
I still think those 2 teams are better than the Bills now.
Oh, Chiefs definitely are. Well, even with their shoddy defense, I still think they're better. But no. So we're all taking out against the Buffalo game. I can understand why. Then we're on the road to the Dolphins in Miami, where we don't fare very well in at all. Is this another L?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So DJ's got an L there. I've got an L because we don't do well there at all. Okay. Then we move on to another home team. We're playing the Washington Sorry, that's wrong. The Washington Commies, I beg your pardon. Surely we of all the teams we have on this schedule, Washington seems to be our most easiest target. No disrespect to Washington, but it's either them or the Raiders that is our easiest matchup. Surely that's a W for us against Washington.
I've got it down as a W. Yeah.
I've got it. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Then we move into November 12th. Patriots against Indianapolis Colts in Germany.
What are you guys doing that weekend? What are we doing that weekend? Sitting at home doing nothing.
We're saying I do nothing. I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I've been offered to go, but I haven't made a decision yet. But anyway. Anyhow, yes.
Stay at home then, you miserable git.
Stay at home then, fine, whatever. Okay. Neutral venue. This Colts team is in a rebuilding phase. And yes, they have an electrifying QB in Anthony Richardson, but he's got no O-line to protect him. The only receiver he's got is really Michael Pittman Jr. No Jonathan Taylor because he's gone AWOL. I'm going to just say we're in Germany. We're going to have a huge fan base there. It's going to be electrifying there. I'm going to say we're going to get a W over the Colts.
Yeah, W for me. Bill doesn't lose against rookies.
Yeah.
Well, not usually anyway.
Well.
Okay, then we have our bye week. So week 11, that's our bye week. And then we're into the final stretch of 7 games. On the road to the Giants. Now, if this was Eli Manning we were facing, we usually struggle. But it's not. It's Danny Derps. It's Daniel Jones. This to me is an on the fence sort of game. I think we can possibly win it, but we usually tend to, after the bye week, start off the first game very slow. So I'm going to say we're going to take an L in the Giants game. What does everyone say?
W.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
Nick?
Again, it's another Cowboys Raiders game. It's on the fence. If we turn up, we can win that. If we don't turn up, we're going to get battered. You know what? I'm going to put us down for an L.
You're going down for as an L.
Yeah.
Dear Lord. Okay. Right, week 13. Home matchup against the Chargers. Or the San Diego Chargers, I prefer to call them nowadays because they're not LA's team under any circumstances. Last time we played them, we got a win by 3 points. This is, again, I think this is another 50-50 game. Both teams have got very good defenses. Justin Herbert is brilliant as a QB. They've got great running backs in Austin Eckler. They've got great receivers as well. I'm going to say the Pats are going to get a W because it's in Foxborough. It's just got to December. It's going to be cold, and the Chargers don't like playing in cold weather. They struggle mightily in cold weather. So I'm going to say New England get the win over the Chargers. DJ?
Yeah, I think the weather's going to be a bit of a factor in this one as well. Especially San Diego, then come to the cold. But I think this Chargers team is doing bits, but it's very quiet. I'm going to take an L on this one.
You're going to take an L on this one. Okay. Nick?
Yeah.
I've got us down for an L.
Jesus, I'm the only one who's got us down for a W then. Weird. Very weird. Okay. Then we're on a short turnaround. Thursday Night Football, December 7th. On the road to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
L. I've got us down for a loss. I've got us on a four game losing streak.
Three game losing streak.
Yeah, but then we've got Kansas the next week, so I've got us on a 4-game losing streak. Giants, Chargers, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City, 4-game losing streak.
This Steelers team, it can be nullified. The Steelers offense can be nullified. I'm going to try and keep my hopes alive here, and I'm going to say we're going to sneak a win. Again, it's another 50-50 game, but I'm going to get a victory over the Steelers. So I think it's a possibility. My DJ's just jumped off screen, so we'll have to catch him up in a minute. Okay, so week 15. Okay, it is the Chiefs. I think this is going to be a fireworks display because the Chiefs' defense is absolutely rocked. Without Chris Jones, that pass rush is nothing.
He'll be back.
You reckon the Chiefs are going to pay him that sort of money?
He has to come back by week 8 to get credit for the season. So if he wants to be a free agent next year, or at least be on the franchise tag, he has to be back by week 8. He is going to be back by that game. And with, let's be fair. If you're playing the Chiefs, you want to play the Chiefs this week like the Lions have, because they've got no Kelsey, who's just injured himself today. Yep. They've got no Chris Jones. So they've got a new defense they're trying to bed in. They're all at sit. If I was wanting to play the Chiefs, I'd want to play them this weekend. But towards the end of the season, I think that's a loss for me.
Okay. Yeah, I will probably go as far as say that this is a loss as well. DJ probably save us a loss as well if I had to take a wild guess there. Okay, week 16, Christmas Eve. We play a game on Christmas Eve at Mile High. Well, it's not Mile High anymore, is it? But it's in Denver. Not the best place to go. But I can't get a gauge on this team. I think defensively, I think the Broncos are very good, but did Russell Wilson just have a really bad season under Nathaniel can't hack it, or is he going to have a better bounce back? Yeah, I'm gonna say we're going to get a win over this. It's going to be a hard match because it's going to be up there in the long, in altitude. But I'm going to say New England will get a win on Christmas Eve there. I think it'll be tight, but I think it'll be low scoring.
Yeah, I've got them down for a win. They had a lot of issues, not just Russell Wilson last year. Denver had a lot of issues. I don't think Sean Payton can sort them all out in 1 year. And even he started laying the foundations in the last few weeks, saying, well, if I win 5 games, I've done better than the last coach. But, to win 5 games with this team, it's going to be difficult. So I think he's already laying down the expectations that Denver aren't going to be good. So I'm going to put us with a win.
Next, same as DJ.
Yeah, win.
I'm going for a win as well. Okay. Final 2 games on the road to the Bills. Taking a loss.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, all loss there. I think we can all agree on that one. And then the final one, at home to the Jets. This could be the game.
Win.
I mean, this could be the game that either where the Jets are fighting for a playoff spot, or we're fighting for a playoff spot, or we're both fighting for a playoff spot. DJ, I'll start with you.
I'm going for a win.
I'm going for a win. Nick?
I'll go for a win.
I'm going for a win. Yeah, I'm going for a W as well. Sorry, Jets, but you usually come to Foxborough to get your biannual teabagging at the hands of us anyway. So, yeah.
Can't wait for the Jets game to come on. I might be absent that week.
Right. Anyway, right. We've also got one more prediction to go to, and it is, of course, this week's game against the Eagles. Just a quick one between us guys. What are you looking at on the Patriots side of the ball first? Because it's, we know what this Eagles front 7 is capable of as a pass rush. DJ, what are your thoughts?
I think it all boils down to trying to contain that quarterback. Hurts. If we can manage to grasp and contain to what he's doing, if we can eliminate that, and now that's what Bill, I think, is intentionally going to be doing, is he's going to try and eliminate. That's what he does best. Yeah, he eliminates your best player.
Yeah.
So I have a funny feeling if we can stop Hurts, we'll go into predictions later, but I think this is going to be a closer game than what many people think it is.
Nick, what about you?
It's gonna. This sounds like a proper blasé sort of excuse, but I think if the Patriots can put some heart, put some desire, put some effort in, that I think we've got a chance. If Bill O'Brien's done some work with the offense, and we're not Matt Patricia's offense, and Bill Belichick will have his defense singing how he wants it to. If everyone puts what does Bill say? Do your job. If everyone does their job, there is a chance. I think we'll lose, but I don't think the Eagles are going to run away with it, and it could well be a field goal that wins it.
Yeah, I think it could be tight. Right. Let's do this then. Ladies and gentlemen, our first proper guest for the podcast. It's been a while. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Steve McGuinness.
How are we doing, gents?
Good evening, Steve. How are we doing?
Right, Steve.
I've been sitting watching you guys this evening, and to be honest, I've never seen a bunch of fans more negative about their team's upcoming season in my life. I mean,
no,
honestly,
you are not.
It's like
you are not what you're not watching the League Gunner YouTube channel. Okay, that's not us. But
it's like watching Rangers fans.
Ooh, is that an immediate ejection, Nick, or not?
I'm a realist. I've seen you guys doing the predictions, right? And I've been going through like my predictions against them, and I've got you guys winning 3 more games than any of you have given your own team.
Well,
now,
unless you've
I've given them 9 and 8. How can you have them? How can you have us at 12 and 8? 12 and 5. Sorry.
I think there's a few teams that you're looking at last season and you're thinking they're going to repeat this season, but there's a few of those teams are much weaker teams this year than they were last year.
A neutral perspective.
It's all about the O-line.
Well, yeah, to be honest, the thing that I've been watching from the Patriots from the sidelines is that what Belichick does best from the rest of the league's perspective is he builds teams without stars and without ego. And he's just sat quietly doing that all the way through the offseason. And they're talking about the Bills because everyone talks about the Bills. You're talking about Miami because you've got big stars there. You're talking about the Jets because of everyone they've acquired. And everyone stopped looking at the Patriots. And it makes no sense to me. You can't ever rule out a team that's got arguably one of the top 3 coaches in the league.
That's very true. That's from a neutral's perspective. We'll talk a little bit about our prediction for this game. But let's have a deep dive onto your Eagles then, Steve, because obviously last year you unfortunately you came runners up in the Super Bowl to Kansas City, which is nothing to be disappointed about. It was a cracking Super Bowl. Was it 38-35, I believe it ended.
It was a heartbreaker, yeah.
It was a heartbreaker. I saw the fan base complaining about field conditions of slipping and that sort of thing, but that's an excuse I would not rather talk about. But moving into this coming season. So look, the Eagles roster is loaded, okay? Especially on the defensive side of the ball. Are you basically now in a win now mode? And if you have a Super Bowl window, roughly for how long?
So I've been thinking about this, and one of the things that you have to give the Eagles credit for is what we've done over the last 3-4 seasons, and Howie deserves all the credit for this, is we have drafted beautifully. The only thing we can't draft is wide receivers. But fortunately, we have teams like yourself that come and take them off our hands. Although you did drop Aguilar this season. I have absolutely no idea. You could have just asked us, what strengths does Nelson Aguilar have? It says he's great at punching through walls because he's got hands of stone. He's just one of the worst receivers I've ever seen. He has a massive case of the drops. And we followed that the following year by drafting Jalen Reagor, who was, he ended up with the nickname Regalor because that's all he was. We went from hands of stone to arms of stone. The guy just could not catch a ball. But how he's done is he's drafted well. We've got the core, like you say, of a good, young, solid defense. We've drafted a ton of Georgia Bulldogs who've all played together, who were all, they were all predicted top 10 picks. I think we've got 5 of them now: Davis, Dean, Carter, Smith, and Ringo. And when you've already got guys who come in together, they know each other, they know each other's style, they're a community, a family almost when they come into the team. That builds onto your existing mentality. And that's what the Eagles have. They have that. You bring in players who, for other teams, are kind of known as slight troublemakers. They're known as guys that got on-field issues, off-field issues. Best example, last season we had Ndamukong Suh and we had C.J. Gardner-Johnson, 2 guys who at their respective teams had more than their fair share of issues. Came into the Eagles, you didn't hear a word about them other than the spectacular play on the field. They sat down, they saw that the team was buying into them and they wanted them to buy into the team, and they did. You didn't hear any controversy about them at all. You just saw 2 guys fighting their way through everything in front of them and getting that team to the Super Bowl. Now, we lost a few of those in the off-season, but one of the things that how he's done is he's drafted guys in the last 2 years on longer-term contracts. I don't think anyone who's in the NFC East wants to be facing Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, and Jalen Hurts for the next 3 years, but they will be, assuming that we re-sign Smith probably to a decent contract in the summer this year. So yeah, we're in Super Bowl window. The only issue we have is you mentioned earlier we've got a very young core of a squad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, regardless of how this season ends, whether it ends in a Super Bowl win that I think might happen, or whether it's another kind of season of glorious failure, we are going to lose a ton of experience, and that is a very, very hard thing to replace. That's what Howie's going to have to do in the summer. He's going to have to go out and say, right, I'm not drafting younger guys already. I've got younger guys. I've got a core of the team. I need to draft experienced vets, team leaders, team captains, because that's when we lose. Who are we losing this summer? Probably, let's see, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Jason Kels, possibly Derek Barnett, 'cause I'm not sure we can pay him. I think Lane Johnson will probably call it a day on the offensive line as well. That's 5 guys, 3 of them team captains.
Yeah.
It's very experienced. I mean, Jason Kelsey is a household name. You've got a center of that high of a caliber. When you lose that center, it's because that's the first point of contact when the ball snapped. If the center doesn't control the line, there's nothing the guards and the tackles can do. If the center goes, that's it.
That's it. And what's really worrying for me is I looked at the combined experience of those guys. That's nearly 40 years of NFL experience will go if those 5 players leave. That's very, very difficult for any team to replace. And so do I think we have a Super Bowl window? Yes, but it's probably this season. Do I think we have a window of making the playoffs and consistently winning a division? Yes, it's the next 3 years. But whether those next 3 years after this season are Super Bowl contending seasons depends entirely on how Howie replaces those guys in the summer.
I mean, I could argue, say your Super Bowl window is only for this season. If he was playing in our conference in the AFC, I could probably say, yeah, that sounds about right. But the NFC, it's the weakest I've seen it in God knows how long. The only 2 real legitimate teams in there that I can probably say has a chance of going to Super Bowl is obviously yourself, the Eagles. The San Francisco 49ers not going around anywhere. And much to mine and probably your disgust as well, the Dallas Cowboys. So there isn't much options there unless the Saints and the Atlanta Falcons have a renaissance. I don't know which other team could obviously come round. Seattle possibly, but we'll touch with straws here.
I wouldn't sleep on the Falcons. Well, defensively, I don't think they're the greatest. I think offensively, they've built quietly 3 or 4 really good young players who are still on rookie deals. You've got Pitts there. You've got who's that super fast wide receiver? Drake London. They drafted Bijan Robinson. Desmond Ridder hasn't had a proper run out. He was playing last season in a team that was just a complete shambles. If he's getting the start this year, I don't know. The jury's out on him, but I think the first couple of games will tell us whether or not he can make the grade. And if he starts looking, like a proper second season quarterback, I think the Falcons will surprise a few people in that division this year. I think they'll definitely go to the wild card.
Okay, fair enough. DJ, what question do you like to ask Steve regarding of his Eagles?
I think it's more based on Hurts. Do you see him valued at that contract that he was given, that 5-year deal of 255 mil? Obviously, it's a chunk of money that's going to one specific player. You've just mentioned then that you've got 5 experiences, the ones that you're probably going to have to release. Is that an indication of, because of that Hurts contract, you're going to have to release these experienced players, or is it just because cap issues now you won't be able to afford to keep them?
I think the Hurts deal for me, it was the right time to tie him down, because you look at what else is going on around the league, and most of the younger quarterbacks are reaching that 3-4 year stage in their contracts to be tied down, where most of them who have signed the big deals within a couple of seasons, those deals have been massively surpassed. I think in the case of Hurts, this is this, what we drafted him in 2020, didn't we? So this is like, he's coming into his 4th season now. Yeah. We gave him the start in 2021. We gave him the start in 2022. He developed bit by bit each year. He developed connections with the guys in the team, and those guys are, like you say, the Browns, the Davises, even the Goddards. These are guys on decent longer-term contracts who, when your quarterback connects with them and continues to connect with them and shows that he can adapt to games and find those players, and they know exactly where they need to be, you have to put that key piece into your team. You have to lock it down. Otherwise, you end up with inconsistency, because you end up with players saying to themselves, am I going to stay here? Do I want to stay here when a guy that I've got a great connection with is saying, well, if I don't get the contract I want, I'm out. Hurts didn't come out publicly and say, I want a deal. How he went about things the right way. He went about quietly. He just talked to Hurts' people. He said, look, we want you here. We see you as the guy. We've been burned in the past by giving big contracts to a player in season 3. You only have to look at the Carson Wentz situation, which we've only just got out of the cap hell from. But we somehow, again, this goes to Howie, we turned that into a first-round pick by sending out the Colts. I have no idea how we got a first-round pick and got rid of that contract. I mean, that's absolute genius.
Yeah.
But once you've got a guy and you identify him as a franchise quarterback, paying him the market rate that year, you just have to do it. Because 2 seasons from now, you look at it and saying that contract's a bargain. You see a lot of players who they're on their 30, 40 million contracts, and they're coming around and going, I want to renegotiate, because this year, 2 years after my deal, that guy's getting 50 million. So
the Mahomes one, for example, it's going to be worth. Yeah,
Mahomes was what, 500 million over 10 years?
Yeah.
And Hurts' deal is only slightly above that. It works out at 51 million a year. I don't know
split up.
that.
I think it's more of a team-friendly deal than what
it is, and that's one of the things that we do really well as a team, is that players who want to play for the Eagles will restructure their deals, and we will make sure we'll be good. We'll behave by them. We'll do things the right way by them. We won't say thanks for restructuring, now off you go, which certain other franchises have done at the time. We'll say, if you restructure, we'll give you this, and we will guarantee to pay it. The Eagles have that reputation with players that you don't see public spats between Eagles players and the coaches and GM the way you do, for example, right now in Kansas City, where Chris Jones is running around going, I'm going to sit this out, I'm going to sit that out. We didn't have that. The Eagles have had a really, really steady off season, and part of that's down to the fact that you've tied down your quarterback, you put your marker on the ground and said, this is what we're going to build around over the next 5 years. And stability is a really, really big selling point when you're trying to bring in new players.
Nick, what's your question to Steve?
I would ask, obviously, the way that Hurts plays, there is a potential that he could get banged up and pick up a knock and get injured. You've downgraded, in my opinion, your backup QB from Gardner Minshew to Mariota. Is that a concern?
I did think about this question. I knew it was coming my way. I disagree that Mariota is the kind of downgrade you think. Now, I love Minshew. One of my good friends is a massive Jags fan, and he was absolutely heartbroken when Minshew left the Jags to come to the Eagles. And I love Minshew. He's the kind of quarterback that, he goes out there, he tries his hardest, and if he loses, some fan bases turn on the quarterback, whereas he's the kind of guy that no matter what he does, you'll put your hand on his shoulder and say, you know what, you gave it absolutely everything you had. We respect that. He's just a really likable guy. But the problem with Minshew is he's a gunslinger. Now, when you're in a game where you're winning comfortably and you want to rest someone like Hurts, bring in a gunslinger, give a bit of fun to the fans, let him kind of throw the ball about, But he's not an incredibly mobile quarterback. He's not the kind of guy that gets out, looks around, and then takes off. Now, I watched Mariota since he was a rookie at the Titans, and that's Mariota's game. He's a much more mobile quarterback, even though he's a little older now and the knees aren't quite the same. But he fits our style better. He may not be, in your opinion, a better passer, but he's a lot better game manager, and he has that he can recognize when a play is breaking down a lot quicker than Minshew did and get out of the pocket and get moving, which our offense is built around. How many times did we see last season Hurts kind of getting out early and everyone going, well, Hurts is on a run play. Actually, Hurts is on an RPO and he's broken out to the right and then he's passing back to the left. Mariota can do that for us in a way that Minshew couldn't. So I don't think he's a downgrade. I think he's a different style of quarterback. I think he actually suits us a lot better.
Okay. That seems fair enough. I mean, yeah, Gardner Minshew never looks out of place, especially in a country and western music video. Okay.
My phrase on Minshew is Minshew. On a good day, he's a gunslinger. He's fantastic to watch. On a bad day, he's Nathan Peterman with a mustache.
That's a good one. Right, one last thing before we get into your keys for the matchup against the Patriots. 3 players from your team. Now, obviously, we know about Jalen Hurts. He's an absolute stud. But I want to know who your upcoming star is, who the surprise player in your team is going to be. I'm not going to say failure because that sounds very, very harsh. I'm going to say questionable. Which is your most questionable player going into this season?
Right. Are we talking purely the rookies coming in? Or are we talking like whoever we've signed in the offseason?
It could be rookies or it could be the whole 53-man roster.
Right. I mean, if we're going to look at the star, we're going to look at Jalen Carter. Now, Carter's one of those ones that I think before he had his little off-field discretions, almost everyone predicted him as a top 3 pick. The fact he fell as far as he did and came to us, I think it was at 7 we got him, it's just stunned me because this is a guy who can dominate the line the way that very few rookies have done in the last 5 years. I think he could easily be for our franchise what the likes of Nick Bosa is, for example, for the Niners, or what's his face? Who's the T.J. Watt? Sorry, at Steelers. We already have a good pass rush because we got Hassan Reddick last year, who led the league in the NFC in sacks. But I think Carter, with that kind of guidance and experience around him, could be better within the next 2 to 3 years. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing him. Who's the guy? I think I'm not entirely sure why we've signed him. I think he's kind of failed. We've signed Rashad Penny. Now, I know we lost Miles Sanders and we traded for DeAndre Swift, which I'm really, really high on. I loved Swift at Detroit. I think he's a really dynamic running back. I think that 1-2 punch of him and Williams last season made the Lions run game one of the most fun to watch in the league. But we've signed Rashad Penny, a guy who he's had 4 seasons in the league. I think his highest for the year was like 700 yards. He's never more than 6 touchdowns. Yeah, he's always been the number 2 guy. He's never been that guy.
He's always been injured as well.
And he's always been injured.
It's the same with DeAndre Swift. When Swift's on the field, he is a nightmare to deal with. But unfortunately, he plays 3 to 4 games and then his legs disintegrate into a pile of ash every time. So
now this goes though to how the Lions play. Now there's no secret the Eagles play with a running back by committee. But what we do best is we take our star back and we let him run twice, not 3 times. We don't make him done every down. We vary the plays. We have done running back by community before it became really popular in the league. And yet we still have running backs like Miles Sanders who go for 1,000 yards in a year. And it's because we rotate. It's because we take the pressure off our running backs and we don't make them do every single down. You'll experience this year because you've signed Zeke. Now, I had the displeasure of watching him against us for years. And the problem that the Cowboys had was they burned him. They absolutely drove him into the ground. Every down, rush. If you've got an absolute stud back like that, don't drive him into the ground in the first 3 seasons, right? You can get 4, 5, 6 years out of him if you manage him properly. Now, I think we've got Swift just before the Lions did, bury him. I was really pleased to see his draft. I think we got him for a 4th and a 7th, which is a really good price for a guy who's only in his 4th season in the league. And I think him, he will obviously take the Miles Sanders kind of donkey work. But again, he won't rush every down. He's a great pass catching back, which we really, which fits into our style really well. But Rashad Penny, Rashad Penny's injury history is worse than probably any other free agent running back his age in the league. And I don't know why we signed him. I know he's on like veteran minimum. It's only like $1 million. It's a 1-year deal. But I've already looked at the depth chart. I've watched him pre-season. I mean, he's coming in for me he's coming out like 3rd, 4th. He's no better than Kenneth Gainwell or Boston Scott, who we already have. So it's one of those. I would rather we took the chance on an undrafted rookie and bring him in than bring in a veteran like Penny, who I don't think adds anything to the team at all. And then to go for the one that's going to be a surprise. Now we mentioned the Falcons earlier. Has anyone actually watched Olamide Zaccheaus? Has anyone watched them against their team? Zaccheaus is he's one of these players that he has been kind of the natural raw talent on the Falcons team with a bad O-line and a fading quarterback. He didn't get the best of Matt Ryan. By the time he was a starter, Ryan was very much on the decline before he got traded to the Colts. When Zaccheaus did get the starter role, he had Mariota and Ridder, and he had a head coach that didn't know which one to play. And again, he had a terrible O-line. So no matter how often he ran his route, how well he ran his route, the ball was never going to get to him because the quarterback was on the ground. I think the Falcons O-line had probably the most sacks in the division last year. I'm sure someone will put me right in that stat if I'm wrong. But this year, he's playing in a team with a solid O-line, an O-line that hasn't changed an awful lot and that went to the Super Bowl last year. And like I say, has in Kels one of the best guards in the league, best centers in the league. So Zaccheaus coming into that slot role, we've relied too heavily on our tight ends and and running backs picking up those 5-yard gains. Having a guy in the slot who can get that ball and then turn it upfield for an extra 15 yards as opposed to 5, that will really improve the offense this year. I would look to him to see probably the best career numbers he's had since he came into the league. And I'm really pleased to see we've got a proper number 3 slot guy there. No disrespect to the likes of Greg Ward, who's been trying to hold that for the last couple of years, but this is an upgrade. This is a genuine upgrade.
Okay. Right. Let's move into the game itself. We're going to do a prediction now. So before you came on stream, we had done our prediction for the actual schedule. Quite a lot of mixture of variety that we got here. But let's start off with the main one in week 1. We're at home to your team, the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is your guest. You get the first shot. What are you taking, and what is your score prediction for this game?
So this is an Eagles win because this is going to be a very good season for the Eagles. I've had a look through our schedule and I was with like 13, 14 wins. But yeah, we're starting strongly on this one. I want to say my concern is your defense, but again, even though defensively you've always been really solid in the secondary, I haven't really rated that Patriots pass rush for a couple of seasons. I think our offensive line is still one of the best in the business. And if you can't get to a mobile quarterback, you can't stop him because we've got in Smith and Brown probably 2 of the most potent wide receiving threats in the league. If you leave Hurts with time, he's got that arm, he's got that vision, and he's got 2 guys that know how to get open and know how to win contested balls. So I can see the Eagles winning it. I can see it being between 10 and 13 points. So I'm going to go 31-20.
Okay, so that's your score prediction. DJ, what result have you got for the Pats and score as well?
So I go back to what I said before Steve was on. Like, I'd like to see Bill try and eliminate the best player in the field, and that is obviously Hurts. So I go back to saying that Bill's probably one of the best in taking away the strength from a team and let him rely on something else. So if we can try and contain Hurts to not use his feet, he's going to have to do it by using his arm. And that's where I hope our D can then probably try and come through a bit more than letting him run loose. So I've gone for closer one than what's predicted. I've gone Eagles 27, Patriots 24.
Okay, Nick, what about you?
I see this being a close game. I think it's going to be, like DJ said, I think Bill's going to have the defense switched on and, performing at maximum. I don't think if we get into a shootout, I don't think we're going to keep up. I don't have enough faith in our offense to be able to keep up. But I do think our defense can do a job. So I haven't gone as high as either of you. I've gone Eagles to win 24-21.
You just stole my thunder. because that is the exact same score line I was actually going to go for, and it's going to be
Great
Jake Elliott.
Great minds
It's going
think
to be.
alike.
Have you got Eagles getting a touchdown to win it, or have you got Jake Elliott kicking a field goal to win it?
I've got a field goal. I reckon there's a field goal in it.
Right, so we're both going to get 3 points, and if that all transpires. So yeah, as you can see, we've all gone for an Eagles win. Look, we want to give the Pats a chance to win, but this is a trial by fire. So it's not going to be any easy at all. Steve, while you're here, so you've obviously said that you've got us winning more games through our schedule than what we've just gone and predicted. So let's have a little bit of fun, shall we? Let's see what you've got. So obviously you've given the Eagles a win. So our next game, let me bring up the schedule again so everyone can see, so it'll be a bit more easier. And I've got to take this off as well. There we go. So our second week is at home to the Dolphins. What do you say to that?
I'll be honest, by the time the second week rolls around, two will already be concussed. So let's be honest. He'll get that man will get a concussion during the national anthem.
Okay.
The thing about it is the problem with the AFC East is there's a lot of hype over teams, which when I kind of look at it on paper, I can say, I can't see that team is really as strong as people are making out. When the Dolphins play and Tua is fit and Tua is kind of on his game, he's got Tyree Hill there. He's got Jalen Waddle there. You know, I talked about two of the best receivers in the NFC. There's two of the best wide receivers in the AFC. But the run game is a mess. It's run back by committee, but none of the committee are actually any good. The defense has always been suspect. The secondary's all right, but you know, I don't really rate their run defense. And offensively, you stole the best tight end in the summer. I love Gesicki. I think he's a superb tight end. I was really, a friend of mine who I do another podcast with is a massive Dolphins fan, and that was his favorite player. You know, that's a great pickup. You also managed to get seventh, I think, when you traded Johnny Smith away. So to get Gesicki in free agency and get seventh for Johnny Smith, you know, you give your GM a pat on the back for that one. But no, I can genuinely see you turning them over. I can see them coming out hot, throwing deep, and testing your secondary, but they don't have that ability to stop your run game. And I think Bill will just grind them down over 3 quarters, and you'll probably win by a field goal or a touchdown in the fourth.
Okay, so you've got us having a W on the Dolphins game. Okay, so week 3 on the road to the New Jersey Jets. I do want to ask a good question. Are you believing in the hype of what the Jets are doing right now with Aaron Rodgers in? Because I keep labeling the fact that he's 0-5 in NFC Championships. Sorry to give Packers fans PTSD, but you know, I just feel like this just smells of. Everyone remember a couple of years ago when the Cleveland Browns, they bought a load of very, very good players, and everyone was hyping them up to be the next great thing, and they absolutely shat the bed at that entire season. This kind of what just stings with me with the Jets.
Yeah, here's the thing. A friend of mine's a really big Packers fan, and we watch the games together on Sunday because there's like 4 or 5 of us get together. We all kind of stick on Red Zone. We're a big couch, massive TV, a couple of beers. Everyone has a good Sunday night, and we all watched the Packers last season, and what we saw was a quarterback in decline. Mm-hmm. He had good young receivers to throw to, but he had no connection with them, and the arm strength was starting to go. That ability to get out the pocket and make those plays was starting to go. And Rodgers, if he wants to continue his career at the Jets, basically has to become Manning. He has to start staying in the pocket. He has to start reading and making shorter throws and not trying, to make those 50-yard bombs into the end zone to win the game in the last minute. He needs to let the guys around him, the younger guys, do the work for him. Like you say, he's got Dalvin Cook there at running back now. He's got Breece Hall, who I love watching play. But he's a quarterback in decline. And if your quarterback tries to be something he's not, and what he needs to be is an experienced game manager for younger players around him, if he tries to go kind of full Aaron Rodgers, I am the playmaker, I have the ego, then that team is going to really suffer this year. And I haven't bought into the hype. I do agree with what you guys were saying earlier in the podcast. I love that defense. Sauce Gardner is terrifying. He reminds me of Devin McCourty in his first couple of seasons. He reminds me of Revis Island. He's just that. You can put your best guy up against him, and it's you're still 40-60 that your wide receiver is going to get the ball. Sauce Gardner is when he comes to renew his contract, that's going to be one of the biggest kind of secondary contracts we've seen in the league. No question about it.
It will be. Let's quickly run through the games. We are slowly sort of running out of time, Steve. So what have you got for the win again? Have you got a win or a loss against the Jets for us?
So you're going to beat the Jets.
Okay, fair enough. Week 4 coming up. On the road to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you're going to lose to the Cowboys, but that's only because Micah Parsons is terrifying, and I'm not sure how well you're going to stop him. You're not going to stop his pass rush. Plus, Mac Jones, I don't know what you guys are doing at quarterback this season. I really don't. No one does. But Mac doesn't have that power to get through that Cowboys secondary.
Okay, week 5 at home to the Saints.
Saints are going to have a good season divisionally, but when they go outside of the division, they're going to get slaughtered this year. So you're going to beat the Saints.
Okay. Week 6 on the road to the Raiders.
The Raiders are a car crash. You're going to win that with ease.
Then at home to Buffalo.
I've got you down for loss to the Bills, but I think I've got most teams down for loss to the Bills this year.
Okay. On the road to the Dolphins.
Dolphins will get revenge. Well, you just hate playing in hot conditions, and if you travel south, that's what you're going to walk into.
Okay. At home to the Washington Commies.
The only team in the league who are worse than the Raiders, the Texans, and the team I think is going to finish last in the league, which is the Cardinals, that would be the Commies. I'm really glad for them they got rid of Dan Snyder because he was a cancer in football, but that's going to take them a couple of seasons to rebuild, and this is going to be a bad season for them.
Okay. So week 10, Pats are in Germany. They face the Colts.
Yeah, rookie quarterback, Bill Belichick. That's a win for the Patriots.
Okay. We enter the bye week in week 11. Week 12, we're on the 7-game stretch now, on the road to the Giants.
You're going to beat the Giants. The Giants this season will be, they're not going to be quite the team they were last year. They've added well defensively, but they haven't added well offensively. And the whole kind of thing with Barkley and how long it took them to tie him down, I think it's destabilized their offense a little bit. So as long as you keep Daniel Jones in check.
One receiver to keep an eye on for the Giants, Jalen Hyatt, the receiver out of Tennessee. Oh, this guy blew Alabama out of the water in his game. It may have been one game, but he looked amazing. Anyhow, week 13 at home to the Chargers.
Yeah, it's the Chargers. At that point, they'll be in wildcard contention, which means that their ball's going to go, and you should beat them.
Oh, dear. We don't use that term of phrase, bottling, on here. Week 14. Thursday night football, short turnaround, away to the Steelers.
Yeah, you're going to lose to the Steelers. The thing with this is that'll be the point at which the Steelers, Mike Tomlin is fighting to get his winning season. By that point, I think the Steelers will probably only have about 6 wins, so they will need to really put the hurt on. He will have them fired up for that. Plus, Steelers Patriots games are always tight. I do see you losing it, but just by a field goal. Okay,
week 15 at home to the Chiefs.
That's when the Chiefs seal the division, so Chiefs should, yeah.
Week 16, where are we? Christmas Eve match against Denver, or at Denver.
Sean Payton is going to turn that franchise around. I think they could have a winning season this year, but only just. However, you're still going to beat them because there are way more problems than Sean Payton can fix in 1 year at that team.
Okay. Week 17, on the road to Buffalo.
By that point, the Bills will either have clinched the division or be in the wild card. They're not going to be putting out a full-strength team, divisional or otherwise. So you will beat the Bills.
Oh, okay. Wow. We're going to beat the... Wow. Okay, that's a shocker. That's a shocker. Okay. And then our final game at home to the New Jersey Jets.
I think you guys have said this earlier. This is the game you think that will be between the two of you for the wild card. I don't think the Jets will have been wild card contention by that point. I think Rodgers will have been found out by Christmas. But again, it depends. if you're in the wild card already by that point and it doesn't matter on the outcome, I can see Belichick resting players. And on that basis, you would probably lose. However, if it is a straight fight between the two of you for who gets that wild card spot, then the Patriots are the stronger team. Belichick is the more experienced coach. And Rodgers, as we all know, when the chips are down, he chokes.
Okay, so
there could be a scenario where the Jets need to beat us on that final game to get a wild card spot.
yeah, remember though, I want to rewind back to 2015. The Jets needed to beat the mediocrity of back then. The Bills were mediocrity in 2015. The final game of the regular season, the Jets had to go to Buffalo, and if they win, they were in the playoffs. And they had Ryan Fitzception at quarterback.
They had Fitzmagic at quarterback, but that day he was Fitzception. Yeah, I love Fitzpatrick's one of my favorite quarterbacks of the last 10 years. The guy is he's hilarious. He's fantastic to watch. I like to see. He's like an older version of Minshew. It's what Minshew will be in 10 years.
Right. Okay, Steve. So, for what you predicted our record, you think we're going to go 11-6?
Yep. Sounds about right.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Let's go through DJ. So, I'm just going to go through this. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. DJ, you've got us going 7-10.
Sounds about
ouch.
Right.
That is disgusting.
9-8 for me.
9-8 for you, Nick, and me. I think mine was 10-7, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check mine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8.
So the non-Patriots fan has got the Patriots won more games than the Patriots fans.
So I've got So basically, so DJ's gone 7-10, Nick's gone 9-8, and I've gone 10-7, and obviously our guest appearance, Steve, he has made us go 11-6, which we thank you for.
He's gaslighting us. He's gaslighting us.
He's an Eagles fan. Of course he's gaslighting. All right. Steve, thank you so much for coming on, mate. It is very much appreciated.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No worries. Just let everyone know where we can find you. By the way, your Twitter account has been linked in the description below, so please go and check out Steve for any Eagles content or just want to follow him and so on. But where else can we find you, Steve? Or is it just on X, whatever?
That's pretty much it. Unfortunately, I'm one of these older guys that's a full-time dad, so Twitter is that's where my football fan tends to come out. Beyond that, I'm trying to I've got a pair of twins who I'm trying desperately to get into football, but at the moment, teaching them just how to run routes is it's a nightmare.
Do you run your own show then, Steve, or is it just more guest?
No, I tend to guest pod. I've got a friend called Andy Davis, who's a really good sports journalist. Andy runs a podcast called Across the Pod and another one called Eurotrips. His Across the Pod one specialises in NFL. Eurotrips tends to specialise on UK and European football. I guest on that. We used to run a podcast called The Hairdryer Treatment, which unfortunately is on hiatus at the moment because the host, a big Geordie by the name of Kieran, he does social media for a UK football club, and his work has just kind of overtaken him. So we've put that on hiatus for the moment. We did run the Alamans Only NFL podcast, but again, life gets in the way as we get a bit older. The host of that now runs a podcast called Three Legs, Four Wheels, which is one of the biggest F1 podcasts on the internet. And he decided that the 300 or 400 viewers he was getting for us wasn't quite the same as the 31,000 listeners he gets for his weekly podcast with F1. So we went by the wayside.
No, it's no problem at all, Steve. But thank you so much for coming on. Much appreciated. DJ, mate. Nick, as always, absolute legends. You've done an amazing job. One last thing before we get out of here, guys. Obviously, me and Nick may have spoken about this a while earlier. The NFL kickoff party at Felson's Birmingham. Watch the first week of NFL Sunday live. You win prizes throughout the night. There are pool tables and shuffleboards available. £10 on the door, including a free drink. And you can get your still get your tickets now at full10yards.co.uk/kickoff. And as I've just said, me and Nick will be representing the Patriots Touchback podcast on Sunday for that event, which I believe we're very, very excited for. Anyway, we're getting on out of it, guys. Thank you for everyone that has watched. Please make sure you smash a like on the video, hit the subscribe button when you're at it, follow us on all our social media platforms, and if you're listening to us on our audio, follow us on Spotify and keep this channel growing. We are trying to grow it as much as we possibly can. But till next time, football is back, baby. At home to the Eagles. Let's hope we can get a win. Go Patriots.